Hi, this is Lauren from Daisy Cottage Designs, and I'm here with a quick video tutorial for you today on the blanket that you see right here. And this is the lovey size of the blanket, so it's just a small 18-inch square that you can whip up quickly if you have a last-minute baby gift that you need. But in the written pattern, there will be two other square sizes too. So we're going to work on a little swatch that teaches you how to make these stitches, and I just wanted to go ahead and show you what the stitches look like here. And I wanted to show you the bobble border because that's one of the most fun parts of this cute bobble border. I plan on making another video to walk you through the steps of this bobble border, and the written instructions are in the pattern. All right, so to make this blanket, you are going to need worsted weight yarn and a J crochet hook. And for the lovey size, you're going to chain 51. But for our swatch today, I've chained 11. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I have a J crochet hook and my worsted weight yarn. I'm using Hobby Lobby's. I love this yarn in the shade Sea Blue, which is what I used for the bobble round, and I used linen for the body of the blanket. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we are going to work a mini bean stitch, which I will walk you through in just a second, in the third chain from the hook. Now, usually I am a huge fan of working into this back nub. So here are the front two loops, and here's your back nub. But working a cluster stitch into the back nub when you are going to skip the next stitch can kind of make you have a big gap on your foundation row. So we want to avoid that. So I'm actually going to be working under the top two loops of this foundation chain. All right, so we're just going to work our first mini bean stitch in the third chain. So this is 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to insert my hook. And it's a little hard sometimes to get it under there, but I'm going to insert it under these first two loops. So there it is right up. Oh, you know what? I missed one. All right, so there we go. All right, so I'm going to insert my hook, and then I am going to pull up a loop. And so I have two loops on my hook. Now I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into that same chain and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on my hook, and I'm going to pull my yarn through all 4 of those loops. And that right there is my mini bean stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to skip the next stitch, and then I'm going to insert my hook under those 2 loops. I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into the same chains and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on my hook, which those 2 got switched around. There are 4 loops on my hook, so I'm going to pull through all 4 loops. And then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I am going to insert my hook into the stitch after that. And I'm going to make sure I get just those top 2 loops. All right, and I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into the same chain and pull up a loop. And I'm going to pull through all 4 loops on my hook, and I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to skip the next stitch, or this next chain, and then I'm going to work under the top 2 loops of the chain after that. And I am going to pull up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into the same chain and pull up a loop. There's 4 loops on my hook, and I'm going to pull through all 4 loops. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to insert my hook under those top 2 loops of the last chain. I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the same chain and pull up another loop, and I'm going to pull through all 4 loops on my hook. Okay, so I finished the first row of mini bean stitches. Now I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work, and usually for mini bean stitches you work into a different spot in the stitch, and I won't confuse you with that here, but we are going to be working into the chain 1 spaces across. So you have your mini bean stitch, and then you have this space, and you have your mini bean stitch, and then you have this space all the way across. So we're working into the chain 1 spaces. So we are going to insert our hook into this chain space and pull up a loop. We'll yarn over, insert our hook into the same space and pull up a loop, and then we'll pull through all 4 loops and go ahead and chain 1. All right, so then we're going to insert our hook into this next chain space. Insert your hook and pull up a loop. There should be 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and insert your hook into the same chain space and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on our hook. Pull through all 4 of those and chain 1. Now we're going to work into this next chain 1 space. We'll work in every chain 1 space across. So insert your hook into the next chain 1 space and pull up a loop. Now yarn over and insert your hook into the same chain 1 space and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on your hook, so go ahead and pull through all 4 of those loops and chain 1. So we have 1 chain 1 space left on this row. So we're going to insert our hook into that chain 1 space and pull up a loop. 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the same chain 1 space and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on our hook. Pull through all 4 of those loops. Oops, I caught. And now we're going to chain 1 again. And now we are going to work under this chain 2 from the beginning of the previous row. So we are going to insert our hook into that chain 2. So you just work under the chain 2. You can see the chain 2 at the end right there. We're going to insert our hook under that chain 2 and pull up a loop. We'll yarn over and insert our hook into that same chain 2 space and pull up a loop. 4 loops on our hook, pull through all 4 loops. So that is our last stitch of the row. We're going to chain 2 and turn our work. And now we're going to do the same thing. So we'll work mini bean stitches into all of the chain 1 spaces across. All right, so let's work a couple more rows. So we'll insert our hook into the chain 1 space, pull up a loop, 2 loops on our hook, we'll yarn over, insert the hook into the same chain 1 space and pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook. Go ahead and pull through all 4 of those loops and now chain 1. So we've come to our next chain 1 space, so we're going to insert our hook into the chain 1 space and pull up a loop. We'll yarn over and insert our hook into that same space and pull up another loop. There's 4 loops on our hook, so go ahead and pull your yarn through all 4 loops. Chain 1. We'll do it in this next one, so insert your hook into the stitch and pull up a loop. There's 2 loops on your hook, so yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch and pull up a loop. There are 4 loops on your hook. Go ahead and pull through all 4 loops and then chain 1. So we have 1 more chain 1 space. So we're going to insert our hook into that last chain 1 space, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same chain 1 space and pull up a loop. Now pull through all 4 loops on your hook and chain 1. Now the last stitch we're going to make is under this chain 2 from the beginning. So here's your mini bean stitch, and then here's your chain 2 right there. So we're going to insert our hook under the chain 2, pull up a loop, and yarn over and insert your hook into the same stitch, pull up a loop, and now pull through all 4 loops on your hook. And that's what you should have after your first 3 rows. All right, let's do 2 more. I'm not going to walk you as step by step through these, but I'll talk you through it. So we're going to work our mini bean stitch in this first chain 1 space. And then after that, we're going to chain 1. And now we'll work a mini bean stitch in this next chain 1 space. And then we're going to chain 1. And now we're going to do the same thing in the next chain 1 space. So we worked our mini bean, don't forget to chain 1. And then we're coming to this next chain 1 space. So we're going to make our mini bean stitch. And then we're going to chain 1. And then we have 1 more mini bean stitch underneath the chain 2 at the end of this row. And the more you work into this chain space, the easier it is to see and work into. So just insert your hook right under that chain 2 space and pull up a loop. Yarn over, insert your hook into the same space, pull up a loop. Now pull through all 4 loops on your hook. All right, and let's do 1 more. So we're going to work a mini bean stitch in this first chain space, and we'll chain 1. We're going to work a mini bean stitch in the next chain 1 space, and chain 1. And then in the next, and chain 1. We have 1 more chain 1 space, so we'll work our mini bean stitch there, and chain 1. And then we're going to work our last mini bean stitch underneath this chain 2 at the beginning of the row. All right. And then you would chain 2 and turn your work, and you just keep repeating just like that. All right, so I hope this helps. I hope you have a great day. Happy crocheting, and I will talk to you soon.